Alrighty, folks, are you looking for some stocks to trade? Well, Mr. Dan Bird is going to give you some tools, some suggestions, and look at what he does to find stocks to trade. We'll also talk about trailing stocks and some things he's going to do because he is going to launch a YouTube channel. Folks, in the comments below, tell Dan Bird to launch a gosh darn YouTube channel. Tell him, and tell him some more. Dan, how are you?
So I'm starting to set it up. I've gone out to YouTube and I've got all the structure and everything ready to go.
Do you have the channel
So,
name?
no, it's probably going to be
Why?
Breakpoint. Probably going
Yeah,
to
I
be
was going
Break.
to say, why wouldn't it be Breakpoint exactly?
Yeah,
Good
it'll be
answer.
Breakpoint. And I think that's what I called it. So I'll have to go back and look. But I've been waiting for just the right time. And actually, I think we might be getting close to the right time to do it because what I want to do is a daily scan.
Oh,
So I want to do something that's a little different.
sure.
There's going to be teaching involved in it as well,
Mhm.
but it's going to be every day a scan, just like I do, and the
Yeah,
alerts that I get, and I'm going to go through them and pick a few of them out, and we're going to start tracking those over time
I
and
like
see.
it.
And I'll show you what I have set up to do that. But
Okay.
it kind of fits into this topic about how to pick stocks. And one of the subscribers actually asked me on this video to talk about trailing stops as well.
Mhm.
He didn't quite understand how to do those.
Okay.
So I'll talk about that, which is part of it as well. But
Awesome.
the first step is finding the stocks, right?
Mhm.
So let me show you what I do. This is my website for anyone interested, breakpointtrading.net. And free newsletter is right in this little box right here. Talked about that on the last video. And I want to go to charts, the charts page on my website. And down here at the bottom, every week I put in a top 10 list. So I do a relative outperformers. So I do a scan that looks for stocks that are outperforming their own industry group. So outperforming their peers by at least 7% and outperforming the S&P by at least 5%. So they have to qualify for both.
Mm. Okay.
All right, so that's this list, and then 10 best of the best. These are the ones that have beat their earnings and their revenues,
Mm.
or they have raised guidance, or they have raised future earnings
Yeah, look at
guidance.
Palantir on the list. There's a lot of happy
Here,
Palantir investors going over
yeah,
40
Palantir is
on
doing
Friday.
great. And then the last one is just the IBD list. This is a ETF, FFTY. It's the IBD 50.
Mm.
Anybody can get it, anyone on anyone's platform. But what I do each week is I go through that list and I weed out the ones that have dropped off and I add in the ones that have been added in. And I just take the top 10 based on year-to-date performance. All right, so these are year-to-date performance. And I rank them from 1 to 10. They may not always be in the same ranking. So, Admiral might have been number 1 last week and now it's number 2. But if anything new gets added, it has an asterisk next to it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So those are the ones that are added this week. And these are the ones that dropped off this week down here. Now, when they drop off, it just means they're no longer number 10. It might be number 11.
Mm.
So it's still a good stock, right? It's just not in the top 10. And then what I do is I have top 10 large cap, mid cap, and small caps down here. And I color code these, by the way. If it's in the first column, it gets a yellow. If it appears in one of the other ones, so you can see Lumen is in this one and this one.
Mm.
APP is in this one and this one.
Got it.
If it's not in the first column, but it is in the second column and it appears in multiple, it gets a blue. So this one Palantir is in the second one and it's in the third one. All right. And then if it's in the third column, like NVIDIA is number 1 of the large cap stocks. And it's also in the IBD 50.
Got it.
All right. So that's why that's color coded. The reason they're red is the other thing that I do every week is I go through each of the sectors and I find the top 3 performers in each sector each week.
Wow. Okay.
And a lot of times they stay the same, but sometimes a new one will pop in and it gets an asterisk next to it. So you can see that one right there is new this week. So these are new ones this week. And if it's red, it means it's one of the top 3 in its sector, and it's also one of the top 10.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right.
Okay.
So it's very easy just by looking at the colors. You can see almost all of these right here, relative outperformers, are also the best
Makes
performers in their sector.
makes sense.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's the way I look for the best stocks. Now, one thing that I noticed as over time as I was doing this is that these will pop in up here, and sometimes they'll stay here for quite a while, like ADMA. You can tell is green. It's in all three of these. That's very rare that that happens, that it appears in all three. But when it does, it's certainly worth taking a look at that. But a lot of times these make the top 10 when they're at the peak of their run, right?
Mhm.
And then they roll over. What I noticed was that a lot of times they will do that. They'll drop down here, and then the next week or a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, it'll be back in the top 10 again. Right? So that means they're strong stocks. They just have a pullback, and then they come back up and they're back in the top 10. Well,
Okay.
I want those strong stocks when they pull back.
Got it.
And
Makes sense.
buy them before they come back up. So what I did was I started to accumulate all of those into a single chart list.
Of course you did.
So I put them all together, and every week I update this with any of the ones that drop off, like these 5 right here, will get added to that list of the ones that were previous top 10s.
Okay.
And then I post this as a CSV file right here on the website, and anybody can download it and put it in their own platform if they want to, and do whatever they want. They can look for the number 1, they can do their own scan searches, they can look for pullbacks, whatever they want to do.
The whole idea of this, the 251 stocks are in that now is to your point, is these were in the top 10. They've fallen out, aka a pullback. I
Well,
think
they could still be in the top 10.
So this is
They're either
okay.
currently in or have at one point been in the top 10.
Oh, good. I'm glad I asked. Okay.
Right.
All right. So this is basically, again, these are trades. This is what you're looking for, trades.
Right.
You're not making any kind of investment calls, but
That
you're just trying to
it could
identify.
be investment. Could be an investment too. It could be.
Okay. But that's not what you're doing here. You're talking about trading.
Right. I'm talking about just finding stocks to trade or taking a position. And
Got it.
everybody has a different method. So I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to buy, when to sell. I don't know what your risk tolerance is. Everyone has a different method, but this is just a way to find the best of the best stocks.
Yeah.
To then apply whatever method you have to them.
Got
Okay.
it. Okay. I like it.
And then what I do, this is something I've just started to do, is I thought, a lot of times these stocks, like let's look at ADMA, because it's in all 3 of these. And these all have charts, by the way. So if you click on that, you'll get the chart. So there's ADMA. You can see just keeps on chugging higher. So this is one you might want to watch. And when it's been in the top 10 here, and then it pulled back, dropped out of the top 10, and then it went back in again. So when it pulls back to the 21-day moving average, or some point, some support line, then add to it right there. And you can see right now it's starting to take off again. Right. So that's one way to use this. But what I started to do was I realized that a lot of these, like ADMA is a $20 stock. A lot of these below 50 sometimes go on to be much bigger stocks later on. They might continue. Doesn't mean that they are going to continue, but they may continue to just go higher. Like Abercrombie and Fitch, that happened with them way back here. This is $50 way back here. And they just continually to chug higher. They were on the top 10 week after week after week, but they started off under 50. So I thought, well, why don't I start accumulating those that are under 50 that have hit new 52-week highs this week.
Oh, interesting.
So these are just the ones just this week that are under $50 out of all of this list that have hit new 52-week highs this week. This explains the whole thing. And these are ranked by their percent change. Now, Billy is a Chinese stock, right? So all of those have been going up. But this ranks them by the ones just for the week of how much they've gained. And if you click on this chart, this shows you the chart, and this will change every week. So every week they could be the same. You can see Lumen is on here. Lumen is having a pullback. It was down almost 7%. So because it's in the top 10, this might be one to take a look at, right? And this will change every week. A lot of these will stay the same because they keep making new 52-week highs, right?
Gotcha.
But then there are new But if you click on this whole thing, it brings you to the CSV file.
Got it.
So download a CSV and you can import it into your own platform if you want to.
Perfect. I like
Right.
it.
So these are ranked by technical ranking. So you can see Lumen.
Continually adding value, Mr. Bird. I like it. Very
Lumen's at the
creative.
very top. So my point is, this is a way to find good stocks.
Mhm.
And if you do nothing else but just look at the ones that have been added this week. So let's just do that because there's only a few of them. Here's Powell, one of the top 3 in industrials. Let's take a look at it. And if this has been in there before, it was in the top 10 right here, and then it pulled back. This is what I mean by making the top 10, waiting for a pullback, and then buying it on the pullback. You can see where it is right now. And you'll see that most of these charts look very similar. Here's IDR. This is a brand new one that just was added. Look at that chart. Just continuing to go higher. Here's Jackson, which is a financial. That's breaking out.
Yeah.
Breaking out right there. Here's SEI. This is in the energy sector. This is going sideways, but it's getting ready to break out as well. It's in oil equipment and services. And then down here in real estate, this is one that was new to me, and I don't really know what they do, but I have a feeling it says it's a REIT, a retail REIT, and it's called Site Centers Corporation.
I'm going to guess data centers, but I have no idea.
That's what I was thinking too. Could be data centers, which would kind of make sense. But something happened here. It wasn't even their earnings. Their earnings were way back on July 30th. So something happened here, and some news or something, and they bounced way up there. But they made the top 3. They made the top 3 in the real estate sector. If we look at the ones, the brand new ones over here, Billy, we talked about. Here's Modine Manufacturing, and I've seen this one in the top 10 over and over again. You can see it made the top 10 there, made it there, pull back, took off again. So this one looks like it's just getting ready to take off again too. All right, so here's NVIDIA, just made back into the top 10, believe it or not, for the IBD 50. So on the IBD side, I actually duplicated the IBD chart style. So this is the same style that you will see if you're subscribed to IBD. There's nothing magical about it. Nothing proprietary about it. I just recreated it using stock charts. So that's what the IBD chart looks like. Here's AGX, Argan. I don't even know what they do. They're heavy construction, which has been doing well. Industrials. And then Vital Farms. Again, I don't really know what they do, but consumer staples, food products.
Cool.
This made it up into the top 10 way up here, pulled back, and now it's starting to go back up again. So it's in the top 10. So that's a way to use this list to try to identify good candidates to trade. Now, one of the questions was, what is a trailing stop? How do you do those? So a trailing stop is nothing more than let's use, which one looked really good actually? Let's look at this one, Vital. Okay, here's Vital. So let's say you were waiting for it. You notice that it made the top 10. It fell out of the top 10, but you're watching it. Came down here, and now it's starting to go back up. The pink crossed the blue, 5 crosses the 21 right there, and the 21 crosses the 50 right there. But right back here, you might say, I'm going to get in. This has been in the top 10. It's been a strong stock for quite a while, had a pullback. Now it's starting to move up, and the moving average lines are crossing. I'm going to get in right there. Let's say it's at 32. Now, where do I set my stop? According to IBD, you set your stop 7% lower. So you could set it 7% lower. 7% of 32 is 29.76. Here's 30 right there. So that probably is a pretty good place, right below 30. You could put it right there at 29. But let's say it's you just use the 7%, right? So what a trailing stop would do is as the stock moves up, it would move your stop up automatically. You can set an automatic trailing stop in your platform. Every platform provides for that. So you can say, if this makes a new high, then move my stop up 7% from whatever that new high is. And you don't even have to watch it. So as it keeps going higher and higher, your stop keeps moving up 7% below whatever the high is. Follow?
Yep.
So that's a trailing stop. So that's an automatic trailing stop that you can automate. You can set it based on your platform. You can tell it to have that trailing stop. So it's trailing because it trails right behind the price. As the price moves up, the stop moves up. At some point, it gets to break even. And then at that point, I want to make a decision. Do I want to continue to let it trail or just keep it at break even and maybe just let it go? Maybe let it come back a little bit and go back up again. Everyone has a different strategy. But you can have a trailing stop with a percentage. You can have a trailing stop with a number. You can say, $2. So if it goes up to 38, then move my stop up to 32. Different ways to do it. That's the automated way to do it. You can also have a manual trailing stop. And that's how I like to do it. I might start off, I usually don't use a trailing stop in the beginning. I might use the 7%, and then I want it to prove itself and keep moving higher. And if it does keep moving higher, then I want to identify technical areas that make sense for support. And I move my stop up based on the support lines. Okay.
Now, let's say you're in a trade and it's going the direction you wanted it to.
Right.
Do you evaluate your stops every day, every week? How often is this like a 5-minute exercise for you?
So that is a really good question. And it leads me to what I want to do when I start my YouTube channel, which is a daily scan. So that's basically what I like you do with the daily financial news. I want to do a daily scan. Okay. So every day I have scans set up and I have alerts, and they send me emails whenever they meet my scan. Right. Some criteria. I use the top 10 lists that I showed you before, the 251 stocks. I use that to create my scans and my alerts. When I get an alert, what I do is, and I actually started to do this. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And this is actually what I'm going to do. So I created this spreadsheet, and I stopped adding to it, but I was adding to it. You can see I started back here on 8/13, August 13th back there. So these are all of the stocks that were identified, and I put in what the scan was right here that identified it. I put in the symbol. I put in there's a chart there. I put in right here. I put in the earnings over here, and the date of the scan right here, and then automatically calculates how many days are left to earnings. Got it. I normally don't want to be too close to earnings, so you can see it turns red if it's less than 21 days. Got it. So if it's too close to earnings, I might not want to do that. And then I keep track. So this is a way to have a journal to see why things are working or not working. Oh, I like it. Right over here. So you can see right here, I said too close to earnings for NVIDIA. Right. So I bought NVIDIA on 8/13. Too close to earnings is only 15 days to earnings, but it didn't get stopped out. My original stop was, I'm not sure where it was, but I kept moving my stop up. So these right here, you can see the stops keep moving up. They started at 7%, but every day I would go in and I would just click on the symbol and look at them. And I just kept moving the stops up. You can see this one here, IREN, bought below the 65 moving average. EPO was less than 0. So those are the reasons why I should not have bought this. And you can see it got stopped out almost immediately, down 9%. But the other ones either are positive or are small losses by moving the stop up. Now there's only 2 that are still in this. They're still in here. And you can see, even though up here it says a -6% and an average gain loss is $216, average trading days is 16, but it does not take into account the 18 and the 10% here. Because they're open. They're open, right? These are still open trades. Got it. So if I look at Oracle, it'll actually show me right on the chart where the stop is. This red line right here. This vertical green line is the date that I bought it. And those are real trades, by the way. Right. It's not just a paper trade. Real money. Yeah. So this is the day that I bought it right here, when it went above the 21-day moving average. Yeah. So you have a minimum locked in profit. Right. Well, when I started here, my stop was down here where the low was. Right. Or 7%, whichever. But you've moved it up
over time.
But I moved it up. Yeah, every day as it moved up. So I went up here and went sideways. So I probably moved my stop up to the 50-day moving average. And then it took off. It gapped up right here on earnings. So I moved my stop up to break even. And then it kept going higher. So I moved my stop up to the top of the gap right here.
Yep.
And it kept going higher. It started going sideways. So I moved my stop up to the bottom of the gap. And then right now I'm actually moving it to, and you can see the 21-day keeps moving higher.
Yep.
So I am now just following the 21-day moving average. So now I'll move it up to, it's about 152.
62.
Right there. 160, yeah, sorry, 162.
Yep.
So I'll move it up and I can visually see it. So I'll move it up to 162. You can see on Friday it actually started to move higher. So when I go back here, and I'll change this now to 162 because I moved my stop up. Now I've got 19% profit.
Minimum.
No matter what. No matter what.
No matter what. Exactly.
Right. I could have more than that, but I won't have less than that.
Yeah,
And
your
then
downside's protected.
Right. With
Protected.
Toll Brothers, yeah, you can see Toll Brothers now has come down and actually closed right on the 21-day. So if I had an automatic stop set, this would have been stopped out.
Right.
Right there at my stop. And I actually put that in now. So sell price now is 149. And sell date was Friday. It was 10/4. See, 46 days. Gain is 10%. I bought this, by the way, the day before earnings.
Oh, you broke your own rule.
But home builders were going up. Home builders look really strong. So yeah, sometimes I'll break the rule if there's reasons to.
Right.
Right. So now this one is done. So now I've only got one stock left. And if I just move this down here, like that.
Perfect.
So now it's down here. So now you can see now my gain is 4%.
Yep.
Average dollar is still $6 down, but 4% up. I'm not sure why it's 6 down. I'll have to look at that. It'd be a calculation error. Oh, but I have to remove it from here.
Yep.
Right. So
yep.
Take it out of here. And then this will be okay. So now I only have one stock left. Oracle.
Yep. Okay.
Up 19%. All right. So this is what I'm going to do in the daily scan.
That'd be fun.
I'm going to talk about the scan. Eventually, I won't have to talk about the scan because everyone will know what the scans are. I'll just say,
right.
Here's what I found in the scan. I'm going to go through, might be six names. I'll go through all 6, say out of the 6, I don't like any of them. I'm not buying any of them.
Right.
Or I'll go through the 6 and say out of these 6, I like this one.
Right.
So
okay.
I'll add that one here to the list, and we'll keep track of 20 of them.
Okay.
And I use my risk calculator to figure out how many shares to buy.
Right.
And then we'll just keep tracking this over time, see how it goes.
Now, when you start doing this, are you going to do this pre-market open, during the market, after market closes?
That's a good question. I probably will do it after the close.
That makes sense.
Probably after the close, because then I can run the scan on what happened that day.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and it won't take very long. I mean, the video is probably going to be 15 or 20 minutes each day.
I have a sneaky suspicion that your first couple are going to go out and be like 45 minutes. But that's just
the first couple, because I'm explaining the scans and all that.
Yeah,
probably. But I can go through these pretty quickly to identify the ones I want to buy.
Sure.
So for me, it's not going to take that long, but I'll be teaching people how to do it at the same time. Now, what I explained here with Oracle, I started off at 7% and then moved it up to the 50-day and then moved it up to the 21-day. And then when it gapped up here, I moved it to the bottom of the gap, and then it kept going up. I moved to the top of the gap.
Yep.
That is also trailing stops.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are also trailing stops. It's just that I'm doing it manually now instead of letting the system do it for me.
I like it. Well, Dan,
I'm doing it to identify visually where the support levels are.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's combining the things that you're really good at. You have a lot of history. It makes total sense. while you
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
I look forward to the channel going live. The audience wants it. Again, folks, leave comments below. Tell them it's time. We want these daily videos. It will be a lot of fun. And the
Yeah,
website again.
I will for sure do it.
Mhm.
And I've pretty much got it set up. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger and figuring out how to post it and stuff like that. Putting out cute little icons like you put in yours. And, you know, I'm not an expert like you are, so
I pay people. I have a thumbnail guy.
I can't afford that yet. So
Well, the good news is I'll show you offline, but inside YouTube, they actually do AI generated thumbnails now, so they're pretty good.
oh, okay. Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah. Dan, you're amazing, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Have a good weekend, and I'll
Later.
be watching out for that hurricane.
You got it. Take care. Be well.
All right. See you.